Hi, and welcome to the Midcoast Scuba Podcast. My name is Zach Haddock. This is a podcast I put together so that my friends and I could talk about an agreed passion, and that's scuba diving. My friends, we are all professional divers. We range from recreational instructors all the way through technical level divers and instructors, and we just want to share our passion with you. We're in the Midcoast, right in the center of the United States, halfway between the East and the West Coast. Landlocked, but we wouldn't have it any other way. Arguably, we would say that our location just makes our passion that much stronger because when we dive, we really mean it. Thanks for listening in, and I hope you enjoy the show. So, in this episode, it's going to be the first of a two-part series where we talk about our journey to moving from dive masters to becoming instructors. I'm joined by my good friends Marti Lucas January and Patrick Danko. The three of us went through the IDC or the PADI instructor development course together, and I think you'll enjoy it. If you've ever considered moving to the professional ranks, specifically moving from dive master to instructor, I think there'll be some good insights for you. So enjoy and listen back for more.
Circus is coming through. Everybody knows that when you purchase a ticket, you expect to get a show. Take a look at me. I'm just a clown.
And it's rolling. So here we are.
Here we are.
The what do we call, we are the 2023 scuba instructor class clowns.
Class of 23, class clowns. Yes.
Class clowns.
Indeed.
I think it was just thrown out, but it seems to be fitting.
It definitely fits. All the way around fits.
We're making it work.
There's been plenty of laughs, that's for sure. Both intentional and none.
A lot of reg recovery skills. We're very good at that.
Yeah. So Marti, how did you, I know you've been diver for a long time and a dive master for quite a while. What made you want to step into doing the IDC?
You know, John cornered me and mentioned something about I need some more female instructors, and that really got me because and I think my 9-year-old niece is we're training her for diving, and I just want to see more women in the instructor roles. There's quite a few women dive masters, so that was I think that's probably the biggest thing. I mean, I love the group, I love the dive family here, and I have loved being a dive master, but yeah, I think a big thing for me for right now was just getting some more women in these positions. So that's a big reason.
I think you'll be good at it. I haven't known you for a terribly long time, but I don't think you've ever met a stranger.
Yeah. Well said. Well said.
I don't think so either. Yes.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Yeah. No, of course. What about you, Patrick?
Oh, I'm two things really. I think I love learning. I'm just absolutely like a sponge when it comes to diving. Had been diving for a long, long time and went down more of the technical path and, got some of my tech certs, got my rebreather cert. But all along the way, I kept like hanging out with the class here at the shop down at the lake, and watching the dive masters in action and the instructors in action. I finally decided to get my dive master a couple of years ago and found that super rewarding. Like the aha moments, especially with some of the students who were struggling or nervous, and being able to convert them over to like the light bulb goes on, they're beaming and they're smiling and they're happy and excited and they've accomplished this thing, and being part of that experience, I just found like super rewarding, sort of flipped a switch. So have been really enjoying that with dive mastering, and it was just really for me about, okay, I got to make the time to commit to getting the instructor piece done. And this summer turned out to be go time. So, yep, getting it done.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear you say the light bulb, because that was one of the things for me. I remember I was still a dive master candidate, and was I forget what it's called, but basically when you're the dive master in training in the pool, right? Kind of going through your training session, if you will. But I remember there was a woman that was having a hard time with her mask clearing skills. I mean, just totally freaking out as soon as the water hits her face, and got to work with her a little bit one-on-one to kind of help her in that light bulb.
Yeah,
it was just the coolest thing ever. And then what made me want to move over to the instructors, I saw her about a year later. I didn't recognize her, but saw her in the shop. And she came up and gave me a big hug, and she was like, "I've got 30 dives now." And yada, yada. I was like,
that's
"Oh, okay."
awesome.
That's cool.
Awesome.
So
that's a lot for a year.
yeah, it was a lot. She'd been diving like crazy, but yeah, it's that I kind of love the teaching of it.
I think all of us, you look back on your education as a diver, and you remember those influential instructors and influential dive masters, and how big of a deal, like a good dive master, good instructor, how that can really make or break your experience, and being able to contribute back to that and help create some of those aha moments for new divers, I think is just super, super rewarding.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And overall, I mean, I don't know. I think as far as like activities go, the diver community is one of the biggest open arm communities you're going to find, right? As far as just people being friendly.
For sure.
Yeah.
Everyone's there to have a good time. Everyone's there to learn. They're excited about taking that skill and going to some amazing place and use it. So it is one of the few times you can sit in on a multi-day class where everybody's legitimately excited, if not a little nervous, to be there, and being able to help like cut through the nerves and just get to that pure excitement and anticipation of having fun doing something is really cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, the dive community of like the more I dive and the more people I hang out with in the dive community, I mean, we always refer to our dive family. You know, we all always just say our dive family here. I mean, you know, I married my dive master, so that's I met him doing this sport, and now we've both gone on to get higher certifications. But yeah, it's the people in diving are good people kind of around the world, you find, and it's just fun to have that community here in Kansas City, which has a strangely huge diving community. Even I mean, beyond our shop, it's really always surprises me. And people always say, "You teach scuba in Kansas?" And we say there is a huge community. I mean, it's really astounding, and it's a good community. So
I think it actually I get the same reaction when I travel and interact with other divers, other dive educators. Kansas City is about the farthest place from real meaningful diving as you might be able to imagine. But I think that makes everybody who is a diver like almost that much more passionate, because it's a bigger deal. Every dive matters more. Since it's not something you just go out in the backyard and do. Yeah.
So, Marty, what was the biggest thing you were surprised about stepping into the IDC?
Ooh, okay. Good question. Okay, my biggest surprise. I think my biggest surprise is like the way the information is geared towards it's learning how to teach. I mean, the skills are kind of second. Being able to do the skills are kind of secondary. Yeah. We're having to learn to be teachers as instructors. And so that is something that, you know, all along our dive careers, we're working on our buoyancy and, you know, getting the right kicks and, you know, all these skills. And then you get in here and we're thinking, I'll probably be fine. I'm a good diver. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute. I've got to teach effectively how to do this thing I love that you think it'll be easy to, well, yeah, just I'll be able to tell you how it's done. So yeah, the technicality of the teaching.
Yeah. So it's like, I know for me, it's like maybe the easiest way to do something isn't the easiest way to show somebody how to do something.
That's very true.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to take my VC off underwater, it's
just
not going to be like the way I just
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can actually do it with some fluidity if I'm not having to do everything so exaggerated.
Yeah.
Right?
And it never fails to surprise me how I can do something perfectly when I'm on vacation or anywhere else that doesn't have students around. And then the moment eyes on, I suddenly look like it's my first time I've hit water ever in my life.
Yeah.
And I look like a baby giraffe trying to swim, and it's
Eyes watching.
just...
Eyes watching. Yeah.
When
Yeah.
the pressure is on. That's right. Yeah. So, we got the class here. I thought we all just nailed the presentations, honestly. Especially, the cool thing was, well, let me back that up.
No. You were going on the right.
Yeah, I was going the right way. So,
Wait.
I know I stumbled hard, but kind of what I meant to say was it was really cool to watch, especially this weekend, how it all kind of soaked in all of us and kind of came together, right? Especially you two, your presentations today, I thought were incredible. Like,
Thank you.
I'm
Yours was
actually
awesome
glad
too,
I didn't
Zach.
have to go first.
Yeah, I thought we all did.
Take some notes.
Do you guys feel like today was similar to the Sunday on the open waters where you go and struggle, our students struggle on Saturday and have 3 dives, and they go to bed and they're like, we only have 1 more, we're never going to get it. And all of a sudden they show up Sunday morning and they do that 1 dive and they're perfect.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of felt this weekend.
Yeah, things.
And today I'm like, okay, that's right. I know how to do this. It feels easier.
Yeah, I think that's a great analogy. It's like dive 4 of open water.
Yeah.
As it turns out, we're dive students.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. A little sleep, a little time, it soaks in, and somehow comes ingrained. Which is I think that's the toughest thing for me is how I might participate in a classroom or in a pool or open water. It's sort of natural and flows, but then you've got this list of I've got the structure to really hit all the points properly, and going between this is how I would just naturally talk about it, but I need to make sure I'm following the correct instructional path, and then trying to get that to be natural.
Yeah.
Like when we started, the last time we got together, it was, I think, awkward for all of us to try to figure out how do I say what I would just normally say, but put it in the structure.
Yeah.
And to your point, Scott or Zach, I think this whole weekend has been a lot more fluid.
Well, and I think we talked about it too. Like we all realized after we dive mastered for other instructors, like that's why they said that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what that was about. And there was those certain things that I noticed that everybody always said, and I always thought it was just kind of like a communal thing that spread. They're like, oh, well, Scott says this,
Just
Chris
tribal
says
knowledge.
that, but
Yeah.
no, that's part of the deal.
Well, and I think all of us have been trying to find, what is our style, and
Yeah.
it may not be a conscious thing, but a subconscious thing of finding what's our teaching style.
Yeah.
And I have definitely referenced along the way. I'll say a phrase and realize, where did I get that from? Oh, that was from that instructor that I've dive mastered
Right.
for a bunch, or how did I demonstrate that skill or my natural tendency? And hopefully it's the right way, but sometimes everybody's got their own differences, and that's again sorting through how would I do it, or how have I done it, and how is that going to need to be presented at the IE. I think that's a brain rewiring to make sure that everything's done correctly and by the book, but still fluid and natural. So it doesn't sound forced.
And I think you're right. Like this weekend we've progressed, and I mean, I will say for me, not just trying to blow smoke, but something that I've said to my friends and stuff. I said, I'm taking this class with 2 guys that I really look up to and admire and respect as divers. And I'm like, I'm so glad to be taking this with you two because it gives me the opportunity to learn so much. And it's, I love diving. I've always said I love diving with divers that I think are better divers than me.
Always.
And what we get to all learn from each other. And I think that's the other thing is just us watching each other through the presentations. Then we all make those really quick adjustments. And but yeah, this is a good class and a good group. And I'm learning a lot just because I know you guys are much more technical divers than I am. But so yeah, that's another good thing about this class/weekend that has
I've
happened.
taken a ton of notes around, I'm going to steal that line, or the way that you Marty, you approach something, or Zach, you use this example. And I think it gets your brain turning, and, got a little crib sheet of things that, for the IE or even just in classes in the future, I'm going to assuredly reference and use. Sure.
Being a good instructor is really just shoplifting little quotes from other people that you can use.
100%.
Yes, in full disclosure, the story you gave about when you guys were on the Oriskany and the diver came up, I'm stealing that, but I'm inserting me as being the guy that was.
Yes, that's happened to us all now.
Yeah.
Also, the stewardess, the dive masters are the
those are such a great
stewardess of
analogy.
the ocean. It was also perfect. Yeah.
Talking about the technical side, though, I find myself really having to divorce myself of that side of it in this, because there's a lot of stuff.
How so?
Well, there's a lot of stuff that gets taught on the technical side that is not kosher on the rec side.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been several times I started, nope, don't do that. Gonna get your hand slapped for that.
Well, I think it's hard. I also agree with that. I think using examples that are going to relate to a brand new open water class, it's so like tempting to dip into some of the technical experience, and just like that's not going to be as relatable as what they're setting up to go do their first real dives in the Caymans or something shallow and pretty. So it is hard to kind of rewire your brain to be like a new diver and use examples that are going to be relatable for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, oh man, what are you looking forward to teaching first? Just anything that comes out of the gate? Just you want to teach a confined water and open water?
My favorite class to dive master, and I'm not sure if it would be my favorite class to teach, is rescue.
Yeah, for sure.
I love dive mastering rescue classes. I think it's the open water class is certainly transformational. Take someone who's not a diver and you turn them into a diver, and that's awesome. For me, when I help with rescue classes, you can kind of see the transformation of someone who is a pretty good diver to someone who's confident in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love to see that transformation happen, that sense of accomplishment from someone who's really done something that, if the class is done right, is a pretty big challenge.
Yeah.
So I think that's also probably going to be one of the more challenging ones to really be an awesome instructor at, to keep the bar really high. Yeah. But that's probably the one I look forward to the most.
I love dive mastering for rescue too, but I never do it because I feel so bad for people having to drag my dead Sasquatch ass out of the water. You have no idea how many times I apologize when I do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I did my rescue with a 6.5 foot Marine, and I ended up bruised. But I agree, that rescue class for me as a diver, I really turned a corner taking that class, and that is the one that I suggest to people. I'm like, that was where I started feeling like, oh, I'm actually understanding the kind of dive I'm doing, and it gives you the ability to start looking around and watching what everyone else is doing, and you're starting to see you can just start keeping track of everyone, and that's it was a huge deal for me after rescue, which is interesting because it's not really as much scuba skills, dive, buoyancy, fish, all the scuba words. It was a really interesting thing to take that, and that was also the time when I was like, I really only want to dive with people that are I really like to dive with people that have taken a rescue. That's been my, at least take rescue. Mm-hmm. And then you just have a different mentality and a mindset for some reason. That for me was the point. And I think a lot of people are that way.
Yeah. Rescue was the class that all of those things. And then also that made me decide, okay, I want to move on to move over to the professional side. Mm-hmm. Right. And I had no intention of doing rescue or anything like that, but what got me, or what pointed me in that, was I had come in to talk to John because my oldest son at that time was getting ready to turn 10, and he wanted to get certified, and I came in to talk to John about it, and John said, well, if he's going to do it, you should at least become a rescue diver, because
that's a good point.
You can rescue him, he can't rescue you. And I said, okay, that makes sense. And then I think it was at the end of day one, they asked, is there anybody interested in maybe becoming a dive master? And I raised my hand. They said, okay, go set the flag.
Why is setting the flag it's just, and it's kind of one of those things that's like, everybody dreads it, but it's
Oh, I love it.
It's
Yeah.
you do, yeah.
I do. I like that. I may pickle some people's asses, but I get to the dive site early so I can be the guy to go set it. It's just
Really, what do you love about it?
it's kind
What's-
of
what's
my
the-
it's kind of like my it's like how I boot for the day. So I go out, the water's still cool, calm, and clear. I go out, I kind of get zen, get all my stuff sorted, squared out, set the flag, come back.
That's a good point. That you get that moment and you get your 10 minutes by yourself and get to align and breathe and get all your stuff. That's
just kind of
We might have to fight over it next time then.
Yeah,
now
well,
you've
I've gotta do better.
sold.
Yeah, I can appreciate that though.
That's a
It's
good idea.
I mean, it's the reason I think a lot of us dive is the
Yeah.
peace and tranquility and kind of meditative aspect. And
Yeah.
right before a busy day in the lake,
Yeah.
I'll get to the dive site early too. Sometimes a little bit too early,
Yeah.
but it's set up a chair, have a cup of coffee,
Yeah.
watch the sun come up over the lake, and just having that Zen moment before you get heads down and hyper focused on all the students. I think helps a lot.
See, this is this is the three of our personalities, because and part of why I was like, I'm never going to be an instructor. And I told John, I'm like, I told everyone I'm going to be a dive master because it looks like a blast, but I don't want to be an instructor because it looks like a lot of work, and I just don't want to do that. And so we're talking about getting to the sites. Like, the things I love about dive mastering, well, the things I love in life is just organization, and so I'm always the one at the dive site, like, this station's this and this station's that, and I've got all the folders and all the paperwork and all that kind of stuff, which also, as it turns out, is kind of why I wanted to do instructor work, because I'm like, I just want control over that stuff, because I'm such a process person. Like, like at my job, I'm like, I'm not that good at anything, but I'm really good at understanding the order in which things should be done. But yeah, so that's, of course, the tech guys, you two, are like, no, I just want to get in the water with my gear, and I'm like, I just want to organize these papers up here and meet everybody.
Yeah.
Learn everyone's name.
Well, and especially in the morning for me, I don't like, to some of your tendencies too, I like to be organized because I don't like being rushed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if I know I can get out there early, set the flag, set the table up, get the O2 kit out, just sort of get everything there so I'm not rushed, while I really want to be spending time helping students. I'm set, I'm good. I want to help the students as they arrive get over their anxiety of, I don't know what's going on here. Where do I go? Who do I talk to? If my brain's also cluttered with everything I have to get done, it makes it really hard for me.
I'm giggling at the amount of hand signals we're all
Yeah, right.
using right now that you can't. I keep knocking my mic around here because we're all okay. That we're all, everything's okay. It's
I always will throw myself under the bus. I ridiculously amount of time will forget something. That's the other reason I want to be there early. Case in point, last year, I think it was one of the later open waters in the season, I went to set the flag and walked down the hill into the water, got in the water about chest deep, and dropped and realized my fins were up at the truck. And Blake Nuss was he was the dive master in training. He looked at me and he was like, what, you don't have any fins on? I was like, yep, I'm just going to walk on the bottom.
Did you?
I did.
You just no-finned it?
I just no-finned it, walked out. We set the flag. He just, the whole time, he's shaking his head at me. Just like, yeah, it's fine. We're good.
I mean, I just did that for our graded skill test for the snorkel. I
it
started
happens.
off without my fins on.
It happens.
Yeah, it certainly does.
But I did it before the students arrived.
That's what's important.
Yeah,
That's
but
what-
circle back to,
Don't let them
this
see you
is
sweat.
why I get there early.
This is why I get there early. Exactly.
And that loop is closed.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there is a certain amount of that now that you mention it. One of my jobs is like, even if I'm all discombobulated because I got 50 different things going on, like, I got to look cool in front of the students so they keep their anxiety levels down.
Yeah.
Right.
Keep them cool, calm, and collected. So yeah, that's a little bit of the trick too.
Yeah. If we're calm, they're calm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I'm excited about next steps. I'm excited that we might have an area to do some classes up here in Kansas City. We're going to go do a survey dive, and maybe even going to be doing our open water and our rescue for the AI portion there.
It'd be awesome if this works out. It's a little bit of a crapshoot to see if these local inland bodies are so rare to have something that has good conditions for diving. So boy, it'd be nice to find something local. We'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And I'm glad too. At first, I don't know what the right word for it, not upset, not apprehensive, but a lot of the other instructor classes hit it hard in the winter, and then they go to IDC in the spring. And at first I was like, yeah, I want to get it done. But now, after I kind of think about it, I'm glad we're going to do it all warm water.
Yeah.
Because retrospectively, thinking about all the skills, I would have wore a dry suit, and I don't really want to do those in a dry suit.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. Well, yeah, I like the timing of this.
Yeah.
I'm not a big, yeah, plus this is, I'm going to be on dive vacation, and come back and 2 weeks later do the IE. So I was like, this is perfect.
There you go.
Because I'm going to be easy breezy diving, and I'm going to blow you guys away. Watch out, because you're just kidding.
Ryan's going to get annoyed because every dive you're going to be like,
I'm
you
going
watch
to-
me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him, you watch me.
5-point descent.
He's-
All your regs are going to be salted over and free flowing.
Right. Look what I can do. Free flow. Yeah. So that should be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the timing of it. And I you know what, I'm going to change my answer to the biggest surprise was, this is a lot of work. Like, this is a lot of time.
Yeah.
And maybe I was a little overconfident coming in, that like, it can't be that hard, right? Like, I mean, we know all the people that are instructors, they've done it.
Yeah.
They're all awesome. But yeah, when we get into it, and just like what we've talked about is, the three of us need to get together and study this and study the tables, and, working through that stuff that is so second nature, but we have to be able to explain the first nature in a way to somebody that doesn't understand nature at all, to get to. But yeah, the time, it's a lot of time.
I actually, which is both a difficulty, but I think it's also made me feel better, is I want it to be hard. I want to have my butt kicked. If I had gotten in here and be like, oh, this instructor thing, this is kind of not much to do. It's easy.
Yeah.
I would have been disappointed because I think this should be a challenge. If I don't leave this feeling like I have improved significantly as a diver and an instructor, and a leader for students, I would have been disappointed.
Well, and this is where now people's lives are in our hands, literally. And then we send them off into the world and say, yes, I've trained you correctly. So yeah, I agree. I'm glad we're kind of getting our asses. Can we cuss on this?
Yeah. There's a lot of gravity or responsibility, right?
Can we cuss in this?
You can cuss all the fuck
is
you
this,
want. No.
Is this all the fuck you want? But yeah, I like that we're getting trained up really well, I think.
One of the common question that I have appreciated from Debbie and John is asking the question of why. Great, here's an answer, but why? Not just repeat it from the book, not just have a guess or here's how I've always done it, but really thinking through the scenarios and being able to have a confident answer why you would do what you're suggesting to do. Because I think that's really the key. It's what I've appreciated in my technical classes and the rescue classes. It's not just being able to read from the book, but really understand and have a logic applied to the scenarios.
Right.
Yeah. And the understanding that it's always changing. I think there's a difference between open water, there's open water advanced rescue, and then going to dive master, and then instructor. Instructor is kind of where you both need to learn the skills and also be able to teach, and also to teach it, and also be able to make sure you're teaching the most updated thing. I mean, I think the thing about instructor also, that's something I didn't realize, is that level of, I've got a book that's 5 years old, and I can't look at that anymore. I've got to look up the standards and the practices and the way to teach it now. I'm knocking everything over because I am still using my hands. I'm going to sit on them. But yeah, it's not just here's the book, know the things. It's not just about nitrogen saturation or things like that. It's you have to be able to find the answers for everybody.
One, stay up on it. I mean, it's a firm commitment to lifelong learning, right? Because you've got the updates for, in our case, Patty, instructors, to make sure that we're keeping up on the latest, greatest. And I was out at Malta at the Rebreather their forum a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of that was around knowing what the latest, greatest and physiology and best practices are. So I think it's the expectation as an instructor, you need to be able to have students need to be able to have confidence that you know what you're doing and you know what's going on in the diving world. And it's not just you took an instructor course once, it's you have engaged in lifelong learning and can provide constantly up-to-date good instruction, which is it's a burden that we all I think now are committing to have to meet.
Why are you becoming an instructor, Zach? Did you go over yours?
I really love dive mastering. And honestly, that was, I always kind of, I think everybody, once they make the decision to move to dive master, somewhere in the back of their head, they've got eventually, I'm going to move to instructor to some level. And I know I certainly did, but I really love dive mastering, and but I also really enjoy teaching at all levels, whether it's coaching, my kid's football team or whatever. I just really enjoy the teaching aspect of it. And so, I started kind of talking to John and said, well, I think I want to move up to instructor. I think I dive mastered for 3 years or so. But that was the number one thing I asked him. I said, look, I want to move up to instructor, but after I become an instructor, is it faux pas if I still go dive master?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I was like, I've seen enough to know that the dive masters actually have way more fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
During the actual open water, right?
You get all the fun part with a little less paperwork.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, and he let me know. He said, yeah, you can still dive master. He said, in fact, most of the instructors probably would appreciate you dive mastering as an instructor because there's more handoffs there that can happen, right?
Yeah.
But that was really the bulk of it. Is I just really wanted to teach. I feel like I've been in continuous dive training for the last 7 or 8 years, and it's just I enjoy the training aspect almost as much as I do the other portions of it, right? So it's kind of the next step, the next thing, and I'm really, really loving it. And I think, honestly, a lot of, to John and Debbie's credit, in my opinion, a lot of the high level of training we're getting is because this is not an instructor mill. They're training their instructors.
Yes.
We're going to be working for them.
Yes.
So you're going to meet
We're not in
their
Roatan
bar.
just spitting out
you're
instructors.
You're going to meet their bar. You're not just going to meet the bare minimum standard.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's
Exactly.
that's a big delta.
Yeah.
The delta between here's to pass instructor and here's what you need to do to work here is becoming very obvious.
That's one of the things I appreciate about doing my dive master here is, we met the PADI minimums, but then there was the shop minimums.
Yes.
It's not just the minimum to get the card, but it's
right.
what experience do you need to really be able to
to
contribute to a
here.
class?
Yeah. It's an interesting business because we all have other jobs, and it's funny that it is like the responsibility for each other here seems a little more urgent or just important because, we're all trusting and we're all handing off students. You might do the pool class, then I take him to the lake and, but
that's a great point. I don't want to be the guy I've got one of Danko's students. What did he do?
Well, you're going to do a terrible seesaw because we know how he does it.
Or have the student who who'd you have for your confinement? Oh, Danko, and you didn't do this skill? What?
Yeah. If you had Marti, you're probably not going to be able to do remove and replace. We're going to work on that. It's okay.
Everybody shows up without their fins.
Everybody shows up without their fins. What? This is exactly how, this is how she did it. I don't know what the problem is.
No, it's great. I think it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to go down for the IE. I think it's going to be a stressful but fun weekend.
I think that is going to be a blast.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited. And I'm so excited about the way we're doing it. Going a little bit early and having some time. And also having 2 instructors there that can kind of, advise us and, or stay the heck out of our way, depending on whatever we're needing in that moment, which I'm sure will be a little of both.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be good.
Yeah.
So
and you know what else? I think this is so much more relaxing. I love having students. I love the weekend classes. They're fun. But as a full-time worker, to work Monday through Friday and then come to class Friday, Saturday, Sunday with students, I'm so exhausted at the end of Friday and then at the end of Saturday. And this week, yesterday, Saturday was the Derby, and I went straight from here to a party and was just like, you know what, I feel good. But at the end of these classes, I feel really jazzed. I'm like, this is exciting.
Yeah.
It's fun to do this. It's not that exhaustion of, because students are exhausting, and I'll add in hats off to teachers. 'Cause Lord, nothing exhausts me more than the students, which we all love. But man, that's a lot.
I think part of it for me that I've really liked is the kind of being kept on our toes, right?
Yeah.
Which is stressful, but hey, okay, you got 15 minutes to put a presentation together on XYZ topic that we didn't know about, prior. Yeah. I mean, it's stressful, but it keeps things interesting. It's fun. Mm-hmm. It's a challenge, and having that sort of, I don't know, I have this same philosophy at work. Like, I like a little chaos in my life. It keeps things interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
And coming in here and having a little bit of random, stress put on you is, I think, different than walking into a class where, I'm going to start at chapter 1. I'm going to end at chapter 10. I'm going to have a quiz here. I mean, having that, I think, has kept it fun and interesting for me.
Yeah.
Well, and we had, like that test today, I have always been start the test and I'm always, grade school, finish the test first. But that one today, I think we only had 10 minutes left or something of the hour and a half. Yep. We really didn't get it done super fast. And so, it's certainly not easy or relaxing. It's fun, but it's certainly not just show up and you get the points.
Yeah. One of my tech instructors I had, I know I just made the comment about divorcing tech and rec, but he always, he was a real hard ass as an instructor, but he said pressure makes diamonds. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I feel. Yeah. And that's kind of part of where I'm like, no, I want it to be hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But if there's ever a time to be really hard on students, make it when they're going to have other people's lives in their hands.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we can wrap up here real quick, but that was one of the things too. I remember when I was dive mastering, doing my dive mastering training, and the instructor that I was shadowing in the pool after the class was over, I think it was on Sunday night after everybody was done. He pulled me up into the front there and he goes, "Is there anybody we shouldn't pass?" And that was the moment I was like, oh shit, this is a lot of responsibility, isn't it?
I'm being tested.
Yeah, I was like, huh. And that's when it really soaked in that, there is a pretty big onus of responsibility on you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
But it was good. So it's awesome. I'm glad we did this. I hope you all liked it.
This is cool.
It's super cool.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This is fun.
So
I like this. We'll have this. If only
record,
for ourselves, the record of remember when we were just not even, we were little embryo instructors. And
Yep. Well, we're definitely I definitely will have to bring this down. I think for the IE, we might have to do one there.
Yes,
might be a little wilder.
Well,
especially if we do it afterwards.
Well, we could do the Thursday night nervousness that we'll all be talking really fast and probably nipping at each other quite a bit. Yeah. And then that would be a funny one.
Yeah.
And then the after
I think we should do that.
Sunday where we're
champagne bottles,
fireball shots. Yeah.
Love it.
Beer helmet.
Yes.
The whole thing.
All of those. Same time.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, X. Awesome.
Yeah, this is great.
I've paid the cost to hang around. So take a look at me. I'm just a clown. Say, I guess my clothes give me away. All of my friends have disappeared. You know it makes me wonder if I was ever here. Take a look at me, I'm just a clown, and on my face I wear a frown. I've paid the cost to hang around, so take a look at me, I'm just a clown.